Oh my god, it's a change in scenery? What's going on? Soma, did you get hit in the head? No, my parents are away for a little while, so I thought I'd actually change up the scenery a little bit. What do you guys think about this one versus the old one? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe. So, immortality. It's one of those things that I spent a lot of time thinking about, and actually a lot of money and time pursuing, as we'll later learn in this video. So the way I want to structure this video is I first want to quantify why I think immortality is a bet, and how you can actually bet on immortality. And then I'm actually gonna want to convince you why I think it's the best bet that anyone can do right now. So first, why is it a bet? And more importantly, how can you bet on immortality? Well, to bet is essentially to risk something in order to gain a greater reward. In general terms, the way that looks is I'm willing to bet 20 bucks to maybe gain 40 in a casino. Or I'm willing to bet that my friend can eat that large pizza, and if he can't, he buys me lunch the next time. But there are other forms of betting that exist, and all of them follow a pattern that is called opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is essentially just you can't do two things at the same time. As in, if you go into a casino, you're not going to be able to put the same chip both on red and on black. I mean, you can feel free to try, but I don't think they'll let you. And that can be applied to a whole large area of your life, because you're not just betting with money, you're betting with your time, you're betting with your health, you're betting with your happiness, you're betting with essentially everything always because of opportunity cost. For instance, you're betting that right now, this video that you're watching is more beneficial to you than any other video on YouTube. And thank you so much for that. If you want to keep betting with me, then hit that subscribe button. Trust me, I'm a good bet. So now that we know this opportunity cost formula, let's actually get into how we can bet with immortality. Well, immortality, essentially, in a nutshell, is just staying as healthy as humanly possible for the longest amount of time possible. And to do that, you can do a lot of things. In the very small micro, every single meal that you eat is a bet in one direction or another based on your subjective opinion of what matters to you. For instance, if right now all I cared about was my immediate happiness, a Big Mac would be a fantastic idea for me to eat, because after a Big Mac, you're gonna feel great. Maybe not 20 minutes after, but 5 minutes after eating a Big Mac, you're gonna feel like a king. However, if my bet is to live for a long time, aka needing to be as healthy as possible for a long time, then maybe eating a carrot would be a better bet than eating a Big Mac. Because ultimately, I think we can both agree that a carrot is slightly healthier than a Big Mac. Other things that you can do, and this is one that I do every single day, is I sleep more than what I potentially want to. I have taken a lot of care into making sure that I sleep well. And I even sacrifice a lot of my time by sleeping a little more than I need, because by sleeping a little more, I can gain that extra little amount of REM and deep sleep every night that in theory, in the long term, will pay off in dividends. And if you want to know how to actually track your REM and your deep sleep, I did a deep dive into the Oura Ring, the sleep tracking device that I personally use. Other bigger bets that you could be taking is you could potentially be taking a lot more vitamins and supplements that, in theory, might actually extend your lifespan. Now, the problem is we don't know that yet. We don't know what actually works because we don't have someone who has lived to 1,000 to actually tell us what works and what doesn't work. We just have short-term evidence. But the problem is by the time we get very concrete evidence of this works, this doesn't work, you'll probably be dead, because you'll need to have someone that have lived for 1,000 years to actually tell us how to actually live to 1,000. And that is the biggest reason why it's a bet, is because it's not a for sure thing. You really are betting on the fact that you are right, and this will give you more time in the future. AKA sacrificing some time now will give you even more time in the future. And so you can see how this easily creeps up on you and how you can actually sacrifice a lot of your life. I've sacrificed a lot of my days into being healthy, preparing healthy food, researching what is the optimal thing to eat, sleeping more, and doing all sorts of health related things in hopes that by spending a little bit of time now, by sacrificing my time right now, I can gain a significant amount of time in the future. And now let's actually get into why I think it's the best bet that you could make, aka why I think that you should be sacrificing a little bit of your time and a little bit of your money every day in order to potentially expand your lifespan. And that is because of multiple reasons. The first reason why it's a fantastic bet is because of what's called your health span. Now, people talk about lifespan a lot, how long you live, but very few people actually talk about how well you live during that time. Health span is essentially just that. How many years do you have in relatively good health? And basically, if what you're doing is just becoming healthier every single day, that means you're increasing your health span. So even if you didn't touch your lifespan, imagine being able to energetically play with your grandkids when you're 100 years old. Imagine not feeling the same age that you are. Imagine feeling so much younger when you are in fact older. Even if that didn't touch your lifespan, as in you died at the exact same time, no matter what you did, increasing that health span from, let's just say, 40, 50, 60 years to 70, 80, 90, where you're still completely fine at 90, I think is a fantastic bet to be making. And it's not something that I think a lot of people are thinking about. Not a lot of people are thinking, well, what might happen at 90? So I'm taking all of the pleasure right now. I'm betting on me being happy right now rather than at 90. So then, that's the worst case scenario. It didn't increase your lifespan, but it did increase your health span. Well, what if it increased your health span and let's just say you spent 20 years of your life doing health things and it only increased it by another 20 years? Well, even that is better than nothing. Now, I was gonna say, imagine how great life is right now, but things might be a little bit hairy right now in time. But imagine how great things were, let's just say 6 months ago, before this whole C-word thing even started. Imagine how much technology we have now. Now imagine how much we will have in 100 years. Significantly more. It'll be significantly better. We'll probably have these amazing, amazing inventions happening over the next 100 years. Now imagine if you spent 20 of those years gaining another 20. AKA, instead of dying, let's just say 100 years from now, you died 120 years from now. Now imagine what in those 20 years, what humanity could do. Imagine the things that you could witness, the things that you could do. Maybe spaceflight is now something that's commercially available for everyone for a low price. And now you can finally go to space with basically zero risk. Imagine all the things that you can see and do in those 20 years by sacrificing 20 years right now. And that is not even the best case scenario. Imagine being able to essentially be 120 and be completely spry, nimble, and not even feel your age. I think that is a fantastic bet to make. But that is not even the good part. Imagine if you actually managed to catch the immortality escape velocity. And I talk about that in this video, so I'm not going to go into too big of an in-depth in this video, but essentially what the immortality escape velocity is let's just say if you extend your life by 20 years, in that 20 years, could you potentially increase your life by another 20 years? And in that next 20 years, could you maybe extend your life by another 60, 100, 120? And then in that 120, essentially the sky's the limit. So by catching that immortality escape velocity and gaining that first 20 years, and then after those 20 years, gaining another 20 years, and another 20 years, and another 20 years, because of the advancement of technology, medicine, and science, Now, I think that is the ultimate prize that you could potentially want. It is literally all the time in the world. I'm going to leave that there. It is all the time in the world. It's everything that you could possibly want and more. And that, ladies and gentlemen, why it's the best bet. Because that's essentially like sacrificing $20 to potentially gain $2 million. Wouldn't that be a great bet to make? Say, there's a 1 in 5 chance that if you give me $20, I will give you $2 million. It's just such a disproportionate return on investment of time, of money, of mental effort that it is unfathomable. The things that you could do with an extra 100 years are just so limitless that I think it is just almost silly to not bet on that right here, right now, with every one of your actions. If you've made it this far, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It takes a fairly long time and a fairly large amount of sacrifice for me to make these videos, and I make these videos specifically so that your life can improve. So if you think that it was worth it, please consider that subscribe button. Please like this video so that it shows me to make more of these videos, that you actually like these videos. And if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, please comment them down below. I would love to answer any questions or any comments that you have. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.